Part 52. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 511. At this moment, when Li Bai was thinking about how to deal with those innate originators, a stream of messages kept coming into Li Bai's mind. These messages were all from the clones created by Li Bai. It seems that I still underestimated you. I didn't expect that you would block the entire End realm. Haha, I underestimated your courage. Then, Li Bai issued a message to all these clones. There is no change in the plan for the time being. As long as the invaders are found, no matter what realm they are in, they will be killed without mercy. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Then, countless clones agreed. A moment later, another message came into Li Bai's mind, and the source of this message was the nameless place. Sir. Oh, it's you, Chang Ling. Li Bai said with a smile. The other party was the follower of the origin of innate destiny. It seems that Xiao Leng and Xiao Yao have completely merged with all of you. That's right, sir. These two children have completely merged. Now they are me. What about you? What are you going to do next? Then, Li Bai asked slowly. Sir, you also know that I am just a soul body. I am very satisfied to see the growth of Xiao Leng and Xiao Yao. Hearing this, Li Bai was silent for a while, and then said. You know my ability. Sir, I have never doubted it, but I have lived long enough. In the next time, I want to go to the Fate Heaven and the Disaster Land. After all, they are also the places where I grew up, and I also hope that I can sleep here forever. As for Xiao Leng and Xiao Yao, please take care of them. Changling's voice was full of calmness, as if she had anticipated her fate since she started the experiment. It was a great blessing to be able to survive for so long. Alas, in fact, your fate should not be like this. It's not that the Transcendent cannot see a glimmer of hope. But I also know that the you now may be the real you, right? Li Bai asked with a smile. He, sir, you are right. I have been a follower of the innate destiny for countless epochs. In the remaining time, I just want to be Chang Ling again. Well, I respect you. Don't worry, I will take care of the two little girls for you. Li Bai said slowly. In that case, thank you, sir. Chang Ling hopes that sir can find the answer as soon as possible. Well, go. After saying that, Chang Ling completely disconnected from Li Bai, but just a few seconds later, two more voices came into Li Bai's mind. Sir. Hey, big pervert. These two are Xiao Leng and Xiao Yao? What do you want to ask? The ancestor. Your ancestor is just doing what she wants to do most, no need to disturb her. Well, sir, we understand, but we are a little reluctant. Okay, you come to the heavens and the worlds now, from now on, just stay with us. Okay, sir. Ah, big pervert, you won't do anything to me. The little demon said mischievously. Yes, of course. Li Bai's voice became a little evil, as if a hungry wolf was waiting for a lamb. Ah. When you come, I will beat your ass first. Okay, little demon, stop being naughty. Sir, where are we going specifically? Xiao Leng asked slowly. The road of the 10,000 worlds, I will tell you the details when you come. Yes, sir. At the same time, in the highest level of the road of the 10,000 worlds, a great battle is taking place. This road is very special, like a road independent of the 10,000 worlds. The rules of the entire road are all constructed by the primordial law and the original rules. Its purpose is to withstand the battle between these creatures. At this moment, in a fork in the road derived from this road, Xuanhuan and Xuanhuan are now covered in blood, and their breath has begun to become disordered. Haha, Xuanhuan, you didn't expect that there will be such a day for you. Hai Huangling stared at Chenexai and said, the hatred in his eyes seemed to be able to drown Chenexai directly. If this scene was seen by Prajna, she would definitely be extremely horrified. Hai Huangling had been killed by him. Perhaps only Hai Huangling himself could explain all this. Although, I don't understand why you can directly break through to the explorer. But, I can clearly sense that the power you just displayed is not yours, right? That is to say, you made some kind of deal with someone and guessed this kind of power. Chenexai looked at Hai Huangling with bloodshot eyes and said calmly. Ha ha ha, worthy of the woman I like, she is so smart. Hearing this, Chenexai's pretty face suddenly turned cold, and the disgusted look was self-evident. I like your expression very much, and it will be fun to play with it when the time comes. But you guessed right, I did make a deal with a certain adult. Hai Huangling said slowly, without any concealment. Oh, in that case, does your creator know? Chen 11 sneered and said. What do you think? Oh, by the way, I can tell you another secret. In fact, I am not a living person now, but an undead. After all, I have already died once. Undead? And what do you mean when you say you died once? After Chen 11 heard this, she immediately widened her eyes and asked. There's no need to explain this to you. Soul burning, endless pursuit. After saying that, without any warning, Hai Huangling launched another move against Chen 11. In an instant, wisps of extremely powerful soul power continued to emerge, and then transformed into invisible sharp blades that went straight into Chen 11's mind. After feeling the pain that was like a knife being cut from his soul, Chen 11's eyes narrowed. He didn't expect that the other party had such a powerful soul power. This soul power was enough to rival the creator. Way ahead. Immediately, Chen 11 summoned his way forward in an attempt to resist this soul-killing move. However, Chen 11 was disappointed. These soul blades passed directly through the advance path and rushed into Chen 11's soul. In an instant, the look in Chen 11's eyes gradually dissipated and turned gray-white, as if he had become a body without a soul. Seeing this scene, Hai Huangling's face immediately became extremely excited and crazy. He killed Chen 11, he finally killed Chen 11. However, the borrowed scene made him completely crazy. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Benpao de la Chang. Chapter 512. The gray-white color in Chenexai's eyes gradually dissipated, and then a ray of divine light quietly occupied his eyes. The soul that had been wiped out by Hai Huangling was resurrected at this moment. Your soul, how could it be? Hai Huangling asked in disbelief. He had clearly sensed that Chenexai's soul was completely wiped out just now. Do you really think you can kill me? Don't you know that neither side of the explorer can kill the other? Chenexai said coldly. He, you think I don't know this rule, why do you think I want to erase your soul? But I'm very curious, how did your soul regenerate? Hai Huangling then shouted loudly. Soul rebirth? You are wrong, my soul is not wiped out at all. I just wanted to trace the source of your power just now. Chenexai said jokingly, as if Hai Huangling was just a clown at this moment. Of course, Hai Huangling naturally couldn't believe these words. You have to know that the soul killing that he inherited came from the slave soul master, the creature who once enslaved the soul of the creator. There is only one explanation, that is, Chenexai has the means to resist soul attacks, and according to the rules of the Road of 10,000 Worlds, this means can only be used once. If you say this to others, you may believe it, but, for me, it is impossible. You don't know how terrifying the source of my power is. Hai Huangling said viciously, and then, his whole body burst out with an extremely terrifying aura again. If he couldn't kill Chenexai once, then twice. Anyway, this soul-killing ability is unlimited. As long as the slave soul master does not fall, Hai Huangling can continuously absorb it, similar to a parasite. Soul power, kill. Then, Hai Huangling was like crazy, constantly releasing his soul-killing moves towards Chenexai until he was exhausted. Facing this soul-killing move, Chenexai's face was extremely calm, and he had no intention of blocking it, allowing these killing moves to continue to invade his soul. Seeing this scene, Hai Huangling was completely dumbfounded, looking at Chenexai in horror. Impossible, this, how is it possible? Even if you have a secret technique to resist the soul, you can't use it unlimitedly. What's going on, what's going on? Chenexai, what on earth did you do? Hai Huangling roared at Chenexai crazily. Is this what you call a soul-killing move? It doesn't look like anything. After all, it's not your power. Chenexai said coldly. What on earth did you do, answer me. Hai Huangling said angrily, his heart was completely confused at this moment, and his killing intent towards Chenexai erupted unscrupulously. How about a deal? Tell me who your source is. I'll tell you why mine is not affected. How? Chenexai looked at Hai Huangling and said calmly. Both parties were creatures of the same realm. Because of the existence of certain rules, neither party could kill the other. This kind of deal was a bad idea. After all, she also wanted to know the source of the other party's power. Trade, why do I want you to make a deal? Do you think there is no hatred between us? It is naturally impossible for Hai Huangling to make such a deal with Chenexai. Not to mention the hatred between the two parties, just based on the identity of the enslaved soul master, it cannot be said. In this case, there is no way. I can only find it myself. Afterwards, the two sides fell into a century war again. After a long time, both sides were covered with dense scars, and these scars could not be healed in a short time. And Hai Huangling also understood that perhaps he really couldn't kill Chenexai. I promised you that we would exchange information. But I can't tell you his specific identity. Well, you can. Chenexai nodded and said. My power comes from a transaction. I don't know the specific realm of the other party. I only know that he once enslaved the soul of a creator, and he is actually below the realm of an explorer. Are you sure? Hearing this, Chenexai's pupils kept jumping. Of course, there is no need to lie about this. Okay, the next is your secret. Tell me how you are immune to soul power. Hai Huangling asked impatiently. He wanted to know too much at this moment. It's very simple. Your soul power can't cause harm to a person with a past and future. That's all I can say. Chenexai said slowly. Past and future? What do you mean? Hai Huangling asked in confusion. I said that I can only tell you this much. In that case, then stand until you can tell me everything. After that, the two sides started fighting again without saying a word. In another battlefield, Xuanhuan and the creator of the Haihuan clan have been fighting for countless rounds. Fortunately, this path has the blessing of the Taishu law and the distant law, otherwise it would have been broken long ago. Xuanhuan, I have to admit that you are much stronger than when you just became a creator, and the speed of your progress is far beyond my expectations. The creator of the Haihuan tribe said calmly. Thank you for the compliment. I, Xuanhuan, am also very proud that Senior can say such words. Xuanhuan said with a smile. I'm still very curious about how you were promoted to creator. You must know that with your talent, it will take at least an era to be promoted to creator. I'm sorry I can't tell you this. Xuanhuan said slowly. However, I think you should also know that you, the mermaid clan, are not enough just to be the creator. The creator said slowly. Listen to the words of the seniors, your ruler has awakened and entered the road to all realms. Xuanhuan frowned slightly and said slowly, if this is true, this is definitely one of the worst news, and even puts them in an extremely dangerous situation. Haha, there is nothing to hide in this matter. It is indeed as you said, the one from our Haihuang tribe has indeed arrived. That's why I say that you mermaid tribe has no chance of winning. The creator of the Haihuang tribe said with a smile, as if he had a winning ticket. Senior, you have something to say, right? Just say it directly. There is no need to do this. Xuanhuan smelled the secret and said with a sneer. As expected of the tallest mermaid, smart. It's very simple. We, the Haihuang clan, really don't want to give up on you, the mermaid clan. As long as you look back now, let's forget about the past. Look back. What you mean? Xuanhuan said jokingly. Accept us as your masters. The creator of the Haihuang clan said with a gentle smile, but this smile made people feel cold in their hearts. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 513. Sure enough, after hearing this, Chen Yu's expression changed and became extremely cold, with a unique aura of a creator all over his body. Old man, do you really think that I respect you by calling you a senior? Haha, you are really whimsical. You Haihuang people are not worthy. In my opinion, you are just a group of people who are struggling to survive. The rats in the dark are more upright than you. Chen Yu shouted loudly, his tone full of rage. Hearing Xuanhuan's curse, the patience of this creator was finally exhausted, and he said without emotion. In this case, you can only die. Old ancestor, leave it to you. When the words fell, a sigh suddenly spread throughout the heavens and the worlds. Just with this sigh, Xuanhuan and Chenexai, who was far away in another battlefield, fell continuously in realm, spurted out a mouthful of blood, and then became listless. Of course, Chenexai's injury was much lighter than Xuanhuan's. Ancestor. Then, Chenexai immediately came to Xuanhuan's side and asked with concern. I'm fine. Xuanhuan said with difficulty with a pale face. Afterwards, under the gaze of the two, an old man slowly appeared in front of them. In an instant, a breath made Xuanhuan and Chenexai a little difficult to breathe, as if someone had directly strangled their necks. This old man is the ruler of the Haihuang clan, Haihuang Qingtian, an old monster who has lived for countless epochs, and can even be traced back to the end of the Taishu. Why fight to the end? The old man looked at Xuanhuan and Chenexai and said regretfully. As the second generation of the Sea King, I really can't bear the destruction of any of the Gigzu Sea races. Haihuang Qingtian said with great regret, as if he really felt sorry for Xuanhuan and the others. Sea King. You just called yourself that. You are really shameless. Can your strength catch up with the Gigzu Sea King? In my opinion, it's far behind. Xuanhuan was not afraid at all, staring at the old man in front of him and mocking. So what? The first generation of Gigzu Sea King has disappeared. As the strongest creature in the entire Gigzu Sea, how can I not be qualified? And I don't need the recognition of you ants. One of you is extremely insignificant in my eyes. Haihuang Qingtian said slowly, his words were calm, and there was no ripple in his grey eyes, as if even big things could not stir up any waves. The Gigzu Sea King just disappeared, not fallen. When he returns, I wonder what he will think when he sees a master who dares to use this name. Xuanhuan said slowly. She knew that the moment this person appeared, their ending might only be falling, but at this moment, all they could do was to delay time and ask for help from the adults. If he really didn't fall, why didn't he come back after such a long era? There are only two possibilities: first, he fell, and second, he was trapped in an unknown place. After Haihuang Qingtian finished speaking, he waved his hand and completely isolated this world. Nothing could penetrate it. In this way, Xuanhuan completely lost the hope of contacting Li Bai. I have to say, when I heard the story about you, I was also shocked. I didn't expect you to break through the creator overnight. However, the Gigzusi does not need such a powerful creature. So, you can only die. Annihilation. After speaking, Hai Huang Qingtian waved his hand, and a very small but seemingly annihilating power rushed towards the two women. At this moment, the two women were also ready to die and were ready to explode directly. Even if they died, they could not die in the hands of this creature. My lord, I'm sorry, Chinayu can only repay you in the next life. My lord, woo-woo, Chinexai failed you. But the next moment, a ray of supreme power directly imprisoned the two. You are looking down on me by self-destructing in front of all the masters. Seeing this, Chinayu and Chinexai could only close their eyes silently and let the hot tears slide down their cheeks. At the critical moment, another ray of power that was no weaker than Hai Huang Qingtian came from nowhere and directly offset each other. Hu! Hai Huang Qingtian's eyes condensed, and his whole body burst out with a momentum that shook the entire origin world. It's really embarrassing to do this to a creator. That's right, sister, this old guy really makes me feel sick. Two beautiful figures slowly appeared in front of Chinayu and Chinexai. They were Xiao Leng and Xiao Yao, who had completed the fusion. It must be said that the timing was stuck. Two seniors, you are. Chinayu said in astonishment. He could clearly feel that the two women were masters. Don't worry, the adults asked us to come here. Xiao Leng smiled at Chinexai and said. My lord. Chinayu and Chinexai said excitedly. Are you two okay? Xiaoao said slowly. Thank you for your help, we are fine for now. The sea and sky on the other side finally stopped being calm, with a look of horror on their faces. After all, Xiao Leng and Xiaoao were both masters, and the difference between them was not that big, only a little bit. Who are you? No, you are not creatures from the heavens and the worlds. You are too ugly and too old, my sister, and I don't want to talk to you. But we can deal with these two ants first, just as revenge for you too. The little demon said slowly. Thank you, senior. Chinayu and Chinexai naturally wouldn't be pretentious. Rewrite the fate. Then, the little demon directly collected a breath of the two people, and then used his ability to directly rewrite the other's fate, and it was a very miserable one. On the other side, Hai Huangling and the creator ancestor suddenly felt that something in them seemed to have been deliberately rewritten. Xiao Yao, wait a minute. At this moment, Li Bai's voice suddenly came to Xiao Yao's mind. What's wrong, big pervert? Asked that Hai Huangling, shouldn't he have been killed by Prajna, why did he come back to life? Oh, okay. Then, Xiao Yao slowly walked in front of Hai Huangling. At this moment, Hai Huangling felt the suffocation coming from Xiao Yao, and his mind was broken. Let me ask you a question. You have been killed by Prajna, why did you come back to life? Hearing this question, Hai Huangling's eyes widened and asked in disbelief, how do you know this? Answer me. Senior, if I answer you, will you let me go? Are you negotiating with me? No, I dare not. It's our ancestor, he resurrected me. After speaking, Hai Huangling pointed to Hai Huang Qingtian. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 514. Alright little demon, I probably already know. I'll rush over right away and kill those two ants directly. Hold head high. Then, the little demon smiled and said. I'm sorry, you two are still going to die. Snapped. The little demon immediately snapped his fingers, and immediately, their bodies gradually dissipated. Ancestor, save me. Ancestor, you can definitely resurrect me once, right? You can definitely do it. However, Hai Huang Qingtian ignored the two of them at this moment. After all, Xiaolen was watching him eagerly. A moment later, the entire universe lost an explorer and creator again. And Haihuang Qingtian seemed to understand something, and asked slowly. Did you just use the power of fate? And, directly tampered with the fate of these two creatures? Congratulations on your correct answer, but it's a pity that there is no reward. The little demon said with a smile. With such abilities, I have taken note of you too. I hope we can meet again in the future. After saying that, Haihuang Qingtian was ready to leave this place. After all, they were all masters, and no one could kill anyone, nor could they really imprison anyone. Now that you're here, don't leave. At this moment, a voice as gentle as jade slowly spread throughout the entire space, and Haihuang Qingtian seemed to be immobilized, frozen in place and motionless. Immediately, Li Bai's figure slowly appeared, and after Li Bai appeared, he pointed at Haihuang Qingtian, and the latter instantly regained his freedom. Grown-ups. Grown-ups. Are you two okay? Li Bai asked slowly. Thanks to the intervention of these two seniors, we are safe and sound for the time being, but, we have disappointed you. Xuanhuan said guiltily. It doesn't have to be like this. His appearance was also expected by me. Even I never thought that he could leave that place. Li Bai said with a smile. Your Excellency, who are you? Haihuang Qingtian looked at Li Bai with great anxiety and asked. At this moment, His Majesty as a ruler had been completely stripped away. Especially when he heard Li Bai's last words, he felt like he was falling into the abyss. There are very few living beings in the entire world who know the existence of that place, and they are almost non-existent. My name is Li Bai. Li Bai said lightly. These three names seemed to have a special magic power. After entering Haihuang Qingtian's mind, they constantly reminded him of horrific scenes, followed by Haihuang Qingtian's body. He began to tremble constantly and his breathing became extremely rapid. However, this state only lasted for a short time. Then, the fear that filled Haihuang Qingtian's body slowly disappeared. He looked at Li Bai and said with a smile on his lips. Oh, it turns out to be the Emperor in white. I'm sorry for my blindness, but I didn't recognize it right away. Seeing such a strange scene, Chen 11 said in confusion. This old man knows your identity, but, why do I feel that he doesn't have any fear? I don't know, maybe there is something to rely on. However, I have to admire his character. Even if he has support, few creatures can be so calm in front of adults. Xuanhuan frowned and said. It seems that you are not afraid of me. Li Bai said lightly. The Emperor in white is joking, won't that creature in the world be afraid when he hears your name? I am no exception. Haihuang Qingtian said with a smile. By the way, I have remembered your identity. After all, you are following the supervisors. Presumably, you are doing this because I signed a contract with them. After hearing Li Bai's words, Haihuang Qingtian did not answer directly, but just stared at Li Bai and said word by word. I don't think a creature like the White Emperor would unilaterally violate the contract, right? After all, I heard them say that you respect the contract extremely. After a moment, Li Bai smiled, and this smile made Haihuang Qingtian feel uneasy in his heart. Well, actually you are right. In the countless previous epochs, the reason why I have not violated this contract is because my experiments have no hope and have not changed at all. What a pity, it's different now. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you that the first person to tear up the contract was not me, but the supervisors. When they acquiesced to the intruder's entry, the contract had become invalid. What a pity, they don't seem to care about the life and death of ants like you. Li Bai stated this fact with a calm expression. What, mean, intruder, what intruder? Haihuang Qingtian's expression changed and he asked in fear. They are willing to do whatever it takes to prevent my experiment from having any possibility of success, and you are just a dispensable pawn. Do you know why you were trapped in that place, and why you were able to come out? Li Bai looked at the sea and the blue sky as if he were looking at a dead person. Why? Hai Hun Qingtian pursed his pale lips and said tremblingly. Because he wants you to delay me, even for just 1 second. Of course, it doesn't matter whether they know my thoughts or not. Between them and me, one side must fall in this journey of the 10,000 worlds. After saying that, Li Bai waved his hand. In an instant, without any sign, Hai Huang Qingtian fell directly. Before he died, he finally realized that his loyal support had only treated him as a dog. So far, the strongest race in the Gigzu Sea has been dead in name only. After doing all this, Li Bai's eyes were calm. Killing a master was like killing a chicken. Sir, what do you mean by the falling side you just mentioned? Are you going to take action against those innate originators? Xiao Leng said in great surprise. That's right, this entanglement that has lasted for countless epochs should also be ended. And it's time for the entire universe to end. Originally I wanted to wait, but now it seems unnecessary. I, Li Bai, never need to wait. The long epoch has worn away too much of my character. It was not until now that I understood what Xiaju said, Bai, you don't need to make any changes, because you are yourself. Li Bai is not anyone, and no one can be Li Bai. What I, Li Bai, have to do is to break through all obstacles, instead of constantly planning like I am now. Sister Xiaju. Is that the one who once told us? Xiao Leng and Xiao Yao said with their eyes wide open. Yeah. Li Bai said lightly. Okay, Xiao Leng and Xiao Yao, the rest of the road to the world is temporarily handed over to you. Okay, sir, my sister and I will help and protect you, don't worry. Then, Li Bai's figure slowly disappeared. He didn't need the help of any living beings, nor did he need to tell anyone. All he needed to do was to go straight to Huanglong, face them, solve them, and completely end this fate. The whole era is finally going to change. The white-clothed emperor who frightened countless creatures has finally returned. Xiao Leng said with a smile, his spirits were high, and his eyes contained endless admiration and worship. Two seniors, what did the adults mean by what they said just now? Chen Yu asked with great curiosity. You just need to remember that from now on, perhaps the whole era will be shrouded in the fear of adults again, and no creature is an exception. Of course, this still takes a little time, but it won't be too long. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 515. At this moment, on another road to all realms, Zhang Changkan has successfully reunited with Xuanhuan. At the same time, there is also Mei Xian from Wanqi Academy, the man with the immortal bones between his eyebrows. In some secret place. I've seen Plum Fairy. Zhang Changkan looked at Mei Xian, whose eyebrows were constantly filled with fairy charm, and said slowly. Young Master Zhang, there is no need to be polite. We are both geniuses of the immortal realm, not to mention that in terms of age, you are older than me. Mei Xian said calmly, the deeper the contact, the more you can feel the aura that Mei Xian's whole body exudes, as if it is not eating the fireworks of the world, and buried under this temperament is the original sin that makes countless people afraid. I have heard about Plum Fairy and the immortal bones in the eyebrows for a long time, but it's a pity that we have never seen them. When I saw him today, it turned out to be exactly what they said. The celestial bones between his brows are the most outstanding in the world. Zhang Changkan kept praising him without any concealment. That's ridiculous. I wonder if the fairy will be able to reward me with wine and talk after the road to all realms is over. Nature. Afterwards, Zhang Changkan turned his attention to Xuanhuan. Ha ha ha, Lejun, I knew you would definitely choose this path. After all, that imperial technique is so consistent with your physique. Oh, I thought you only had eyes for Plum Fairy. Xuanhuan said lightly, his words were full of jealousy. Of course Zhang Chang'an didn't hear it. How is that possible? Look at what you said. We've known each other since childhood, Tai Zi. Zhang Chang'an immediately put his arm around Xuanhuan's shoulders and said. A trace of disgust flashed in the latter's eyes for a moment, but he suppressed it later. Well, then why didn't you say hello to me first, but to Mei Xian first? Lejun, what are you doing? Don't do this to your death. You shouldn't be humming jealous, right? Zhang Chang'an had goosebumps all over his body, and after Xuanhuan heard these words, the tips of his ears instantly turned a little red, and then he said. You, why am I jealous of you? Phew, this scared me to death, Lejun, I thought you liked men, my ass almost died. Zhang Chang'an covered his butt and said. Roll. Xuanhuan's face turned dark immediately and he cursed angrily. Haha, this is the old man I know. When Fairy Mei on the side saw the scene between the two of them, she unconsciously covered her mouth and chuckled. She was now particularly looking forward to Zhang Chang'an's reaction after knowing the truth of the matter. Sure enough, no living being can escape eating melon. This is the only truth. The truth that is as famous as true fragrance. Oh, that's not right, Lejun. Why, has your face changed? Zhang Chang'an stared at Xuanhuan and said carefully. What, has changed? Xuanhuan suddenly became a little nervous. It just feels like, your face looks like a woman's, no. You're wearing makeup. Lejun, you are not a humming pervert, are you? Zhang Chang'an widened his eyes and said in disbelief. You saw it wrong. Xuanhuan gritted his teeth and said. Let me see it. After finishing speaking, Zhang Chang'an raised and lowered his hands towards Xuanhuan. When Zhang Chang'an's big hand covered a certain part of Xuanhuan, he was stunned. Damn it, Lejun, why are your chest muscles so big? No, why is it so soft? Xuanhuan, whose face was red at the moment, knocked off Zhang Chang'an's big hand and said shyly. You want to die? Seeing Xuanhuan's expression, Zhang Chang'an was completely confused. Then, he observed Xuanhuan carefully. Finally, he pointed at Xuanhuan, screamed, his face was red, and he said at a loss. You are not Xuanhuan. You are a woman. You. In the end, Zhang Chang'an completely lost his language ability. But Mei Xian next to her couldn't bear it any longer and laughed loudly. Mei Xian, you are going to die. Xuanhuan immediately pulled Mei Xian's little face. Ha ha ha, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it, it's just too, so funny. Okay, I meant it. Anyway, you have been exposed now. Besides, didn't you tell me that you have always liked Zhang Chang'an? Now you have got your wish. Mei Xian said with a smile. Xuanhuan was immediately speechless. Okay, Mr. Zhang, let me explain. This person's name is Xuanyi, and she is Xuanhuan's sister. Mei Xian explained to Zhang Chang'an. Sister, it's impossible, why have I never heard that he has a sister? Zhang Chang'an shook his head and said. His face looked like I don't study well, so don't lie to me. Actually, he is Xuanhuan. Xuanhuan means Xuanyunyi, idiot. After saying that, Xuanhuan's whole body shone with fairy light, and then he turned into a peerless beauty. His face was very similar to the Xuanhuan before. Immediately, Xuanyuyi's voice became like a gentle woman from Jiangnan and said. Zhang Chang'an, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to deceive you, I couldn't help myself. This scene completely frightened Zhang Chang'an. At this moment, he even thought he was dreaming. I must be dreaming. My brother, is actually, a woman. No. I can't accept it. Zhang Chang'an twitched wildly. A buddy whom he had known since childhood suddenly told him one day that he was a woman and that he might like him a little. Who could accept this? I tied up and beat my brother for several days, but he still didn't admit that he was a woman. Zhang Chang'an, I'm really sorry. This is what happened. Then Jun Yuyi told Zhang Chang'an what happened, and Zhang Chang'an looked at Jun Yuyi with a dull look after hearing it. Warm TI. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 516. After a long time of calming down, Zhang Chang'an's eyes regained their luster. Then, he unconsciously took a few steps back and said slowly. You mean, your real name is Jun Yuyi? It's all because, your Jun family was cursed by a certain creature. The most evil male prodigy of every generation will die midway. And the reason why you did this is to hide it? Well, that's right. So, since I was born, the emperor of our Jun family has spent endless efforts on changing my appearance. That's why I will always use the identity of a male. Even my name, every word, and every deed is a man. Of course, I am indeed a man during this period, and it will not be until I break through to the eternal God King that this curse will be completely eliminated, and I can truly return to your will, rather than your inadequacy. Jun Yuyi nodded and said, his eyes full of painful entanglement. After all, Jun Wudao was a real man at that time, but he was always a woman in his heart, and he had to keep pretending until there was no leakage. Even the great emperors in the fairyland did not. You can imagine the pain involved day and night. This curse is so boring. This creature is really idle, Zhang Chang'an kept complaining. Let me tell you, why were you unwilling to take a hot spring bath with me before? I thought you had mysophobia. By the way, how did Fairy Mei know? Zhang Chang'an looked at Mei Xian and asked slowly. This matter can be traced back to a certain secret place in the fairyland. After listening to Jun's intentional explanation, Zhang Chang'an finally felt relieved. Oh, I didn't expect that my brother would be a stunning beauty, and also extremely talented. He, it seems pretty good. As he talked, Zhang Chang'an looked at Jun Yuyi and drooled unconsciously. Jun deliberately saw Zhang Chang'an's appearance, frowned and said. What are you going to do? Dry. Ahem, Lejun, you said you lied to me for so long, shouldn't you compensate me? Zhang Chang'an looked at Jun and said intentionally. What compensation do you want? After Jun asked for it, he really felt sorry for Zhang Chang'an. After all, he had deceived him for so long, so it wouldn't be too much to compensate him. As the saying goes, the one who is near the water gets the moon first, and the rabbit also eats the grass beside the nest. A kiss on the mouth is not too much. Snapped. Suddenly, a crisp slap echoed throughout the secret realm. Ouch, Lejun, if you don't want to kiss me, then I won't kiss you. Why are you hitting me? Zhang Chang'an covered his red cheeks and cried. You pervert. Also, don't call me Lejun in the future. Jun Wudao is dead. Please call me intentional. Jun intentionally put his hands on his hips and said angrily. Ha ha ha, yes, why do I feel like you two are such a good match? If it doesn't work, just accept it. I think Zhang Chang'an is not bad, and his strength and talent are worthy of you. I'm very optimistic about locking you up together. Mei Xian chuckled from the side. Huh, let's take a look. Jun Yuyi said arrogantly, in the past 10 years, it is impossible to say that he has no interest in Zhang Chang'an at all. He is a living being, not a plant or plant. By the way, Zhang Chang'an, have you met Sui and the others? Then, Jun deliberately asked slowly. Of course, we have met before, but after the starry sky ancient road appeared, we parted ways for the time being. Zhang Chang'an nodded and said, "How are Sui and the others? Don't you know the strength of Sister Sui? What danger could there be?" "Why did you suddenly ask this question?" Zhang Chang'an asked in confusion. "We just killed 3 geniuses." "Who?" "Not our genius in all the worlds," Xuanhuan muttered, his tone full of worry. "What the hell, isn't it the genius of our world?" Zhang Chang'an asked in shock. "Yes, we just searched their memories and learned that they have a young master named Luo Tian, the Eternal God King. Even Mei Xian on the side has worries that cannot be resolved at this moment. Eternal God King. It should be nothing. I remember that Sister Sui could step into the Eternal God King if she wanted to at that time. Using his power to deal with an Eternal God King is about the same." Zhang Chang'an asked in confusion. "No, this is not the most important thing. Luo Tian is very strong, stronger than anyone we know. He has killed a quasi-emperor with his own power at the level of the Eternal God King before. But at that time, he had not yet reached the peak of eternity. Do you know how terrifying this is?" June sighed intentionally. Hearing these words, Zhang Chang'an lost his composure at all and was horrified. He had never heard of such an awesome prodigy, killing the quasi-emperor with the Eternal God King, or relying on his own power. This is simply like a fairy tale. It is true that there have been many demons in the world who crossed a great realm to kill their opponents, but those were all from the realm of the God King. Of all the great emperors in the entire immortal realm, none of them could reach the level of the Eternal God King. He killed a quasi-emperor, and he did so by himself. The quasi-emperor, after all, carries the word emperor, which has already produced a qualitative change with these creatures, like a skylark in the sky looking down at the ants on the ground. Of course, these are not the most important things. What is important is that their purpose of invading here is to kill the geniuses of all heavens and worlds, especially our fairyland. You intend to tell a shocking thing again. I'm protruding. Intentional, is this Luo Tian also here? Zhang Chang'an asked fearfully. No, he is on the 12th ancient road. The 12th ancient road. Suddenly, Zhang Chang'an's expression changed again and again, as ugly as if he had eaten dog shit. No, Sister Sui, Minjiao and the others, are on that ancient road. What did you say? Xuanhuan and Mei Xian also widened their eyes at this moment, and their faces turned slightly pale. The reason why she asked Shui if she was okay was to confirm whether she had met Luo Tian. After all, they were such weird geniuses. Even if they were again, no matter how much you trust Shui, you will be at risk of falling. What should we do? Nothing can happen to Shui. Ancestor Xuanhuan once said that if any of us fall, we cannot let Shui fall. Shui is the greatest hope of the entire immortal realm. Besides, if something unexpected happens to Shui, I guess, Your Excellency will really fight against the Emperor Luo in all the worlds. No, we can't stay on this ancient road. Is there any other way to leave immediately? Zhang Chang'an said hurriedly. At this moment, he already regretted choosing this ancient road in the starry sky for Xuanhuan. If he had known, he would not have separated from Shui and the others. According to the rules of the starry sky ancient road, unless all 3 emperor arts are discovered, otherwise, there is no way. June sighed intentionally. The atmosphere gradually fell into dead silence, and the entire space was filled with a huge amount of worry. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Benpao de la Chang. Chapter 517. Actually, we don't need to worry so much. After all, Miss Sui is your master's apprentice, so she must have some life-saving things given to you by your master. Do you think that no matter how strong Luo Tian is, he will be even stronger if he has the life-saving means given by adults? Seeing the expressions of the two of them, Mei Xian hurriedly comforted and said, with the doting on Shui, the adults must have thought of such a situation. After hearing Mei Xian's comfort, the tense nerves between the two gradually relaxed. That's true, but we still need to go to Sui's ancient road to find out. Even if there is the slightest danger, we must eliminate it. Okay, without further ado, let's quickly enter the depths of this secret realm. After saying that, the three of them turned into a stream of light and went deep into the secret realm. By the way, I am interested. Along the way, have you met some very evil and troublesome geniuses? Zhang Chang'an kept asking like a curious baby. Well, I met someone. June nodded intentionally and said. Who is this? How awesome is he? More awesome than me. Hee hee. You could only say hee hee if you were interested in this. Mr. Zhang, you may not believe it, but together you and I couldn't withstand even 3 moves from this genius. Mei Xian on the side said slowly. What the hell? You just said, you two didn't survive 3 moves, Zhang Chang'an widened his eyes and said in disbelief. Apart from the Luo Tian who just arrived in advance, there can be such a genius in all the worlds. The genius who can make Jun Yuyi and Mei Xian even fail to survive 3 moves. After all, it's not a life and death battle, and neither of us is very serious. However, it does prove that this man's talent is the strongest talent we have ever seen besides Shui. In some ways, his talent is even comparable to that of Shui. Jun said slowly and deliberately. What's his name? Zhang Chang'an asked in confusion. Emperor Haihuang. The young emperor of the Haihuang clan of Gigzu. Jun deliberately muttered slowly. The Sea of Returning Ruins. Is it the head of the 3 great seas in the universe? Yes, but this Emperor Haihuang is very strange. He obviously had countless opportunities to kill us directly, but he didn't. After defeating us in 3 moves, I could clearly feel that he was a little disappointed. Is he a realm? Zhang Chang'an asked slowly. Not sure. I feel intuitively that he is much stronger than us. Many of them are just exposed to the realm of Chaos God King. I see, after you said that, I really want to see this genius. As they talked, the 3 of them came to a bronze gate. This should be the final entrance, Zhang Chang'an pointed at the giant bronze door in front of him. It looks like it is. The aura exuded by this huge door is very ancient and vicissitudes of life. It is definitely not a product of this era. This giant door reminds me of the Gate of Reincarnation. It looks pretty much the same. Maybe there's the secret technique you need in there. Let's think about how to open it. Afterwards, the 3 of them tried countless methods but failed to open the giant door. The door is evil. Why is this door so hard? No, look, there are 3 gaps here. It's intentional. Do you remember the bronze fragments we got before? You mean, this thing? Jun looked at Mei Xian intentionally, and then slowly took out an ancient bronze fragment. Yes, that's it. Mei Xian then took out an identical fragment. If this is the key to the bronze door, there is still 1 fragment left. Zhang Chang'an asked in confusion. Don't you have one? Jun Yuyi looked at Zhang Chang'an and asked in confusion. No, ever since I entered the secret realm, let alone this fragment, I didn't even see a single figure until I met you two. Zhang Chang'an shook his head and said. Then what should we do? Is it possible that we have to go back the same way we came to look for it? Just when everyone was at a loss what to do, a clear and crisp voice like an aureole slowly came from behind them. If you don't mind, I have another fragment here, and we can form a team. Then, a young woman slowly appeared in front of several people. This woman's appearance is very 3-dimensional, and she has golden eyes. The most eye-catching thing is that she is obviously a small body, but she contains a lot of energy, almost ready to come out. Maybe she can pop her buttons in battle. Fly to attack the enemy. Who are you? Suddenly, The three of them looked at the woman in front of them with great vigilance and said, "Let me introduce myself, my name is Long Yaoer, I am the emperor's daughter of the ancient Emperor Dragon clan." Long Yaoer said innocently with a harmless smile on her face. "Ancient Emperor Dragon. Is that the race that all the ancient dragons most aspire to?" Zhang Chang'an said in surprise. "This brother is right." Long Yaoer said with a smile. He, it's okay, I just have a little understanding. By the way, my name is Zhang Chang'an, this is Jun Yuyi, and this is Mei Xian. Brothers and sisters, hello to you." Long Yaoer said with a smile. "Hello, Long Yaoer." Zhang Chang'an's eyes almost popped out when he saw the shaking thing. He couldn't imagine how such a petite girl could control it. And Jun Yuyi saw Zhang Chang'an's perverted look, quietly put his hand to Zhang Chang'an's waist, and then twisted it hard. Hiss. Suddenly, Zhang Chang'an took a breath of cold air. "Brother Zhang, what's wrong with you? Are you feeling uncomfortable?" Long Yaoer asked with concern, her huge eyes full of purity kept flashing. It's okay, it's okay." "Lejun, what are you doing?" Zhang Chang'an whispered to Jun Wuodao. "Do you like this?" Jun Yuyi narrowed his eyes and frowned his willow leaf eyebrows together. No. It's just, I can't ignore them because they are so enthusiastic." Zhang Chang'an said angrily. "Can't you see, she is a green tea?" "What are you talking about? How can this be a green tea? She is clearly a considerate and good sister." "You, forget it, I don't care about you." Just kidding, Lejun, you also know that I don't like this, I like royal sisters." Then, everyone chatted again. When they learned that Jun Yuyi and the other two were from the fairyland, Long Yaoer's momentum suddenly changed, and she had a momentum to fight with them. "You are the geniuses of the fairyland?" Long Yaoer asked slowly. "What's wrong? I heard from Brother Xuanhuan before that our biggest opponent this time is one of the geniuses of the fairyland. I don't know her name, but it's a woman anyway." Long Yaoer said slowly. "Who is Brother Xuanhuan? Do you know him?" Zhang Chang'an said puzzledly. "You don't know Brother Xuanhuan?" Long Yaoer looked at the natives. "Well, we must know." "Forget it, I'll tell you." Then, Long Yaoer gave a brief account of Emperor Su's situation. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 518. "Damn it, you're so awesome," Zhang Chang'an said in surprise after hearing this. "Of course, Brother Xuanhuan is the most powerful, and we, the ancient Emperor Dragon clan, have been on good terms with the Su clan since ancient times, and Brother Xuanhuan and I are both sealed ancient geniuses, and we also woke up in this era. No wonder, I always feel that you are a bit awkward. You must have not fully integrated into the atmosphere of this era." Mei Xian nodded and said one. "Yes, sister. Then what you said just now, don't you think that this genius from the fairyland is the two of us?" Mei Xian said slowly. "Why don't we give it a try? It just so happens that I also want to meet the genius of the immortal realm." Suddenly, Long Yaoer's whole aura seemed to have changed. She was filled with endless fighting spirit and a ray of supreme majesty. Her eyes were also flashing with blazing fire. After all, she was the emperor's daughter of the ancient imperial dragon clan. Naturally, she inherited the warlike character of the ancient emperor dragon. Of course, this ray of supreme majesty has no feeling for Junyi and the others. They are not members of the demon clan, so naturally there is no bloodline suppression. Damn it, the little Tyrannosaurus is indeed a member of the ancient royal dragon clan. Zhang Chang'an clicked his tongue in amazement. "We can fight, but how about we go in here and explore first?" Mei Xian's eyes also burst out with strong fighting intent, and she asked slowly. "No problem." Immediately, the three women slowly put the fragments into the giant bronze door. Crunch! A ray of green light reflected from the gap in the giant door, and the long-dusted bronze door slowly opened. Suddenly, a familiar and unfamiliar breath rushed towards his face. "Let's go in and take a look first." After saying that, the four of them slowly entered it. Inside, there is an older cave, full of weird atmosphere that is not in line with this era. "Look, there are murals here." Zhang Chang'an pointed at the heads of everyone and said. "This depiction seems to be a war, and it looks very tragic." "Yes, just through this mural, I can also feel the atmosphere of blood and destruction, as if I have seen these war scenes with my own eyes and vividly remember them." Afterwards, everyone continued to observe the mural carefully, and then everyone's eyes gradually converged together. At the top of the mural, a figure stands in the deep space universe, surrounded by corpses everywhere. "Who is that?" Long Yao asked curiously. "I don't know, there's no real face, only a corner of it. But I am sure that this person may be the winner of this war, or the only winner. You see, all these strong men who have appeared before have fallen." Mei Xian said slowly. Jun Yu was fascinated by what he saw. "Lejun, what's wrong with you?" Zhang Chang'an looked at Jun, who was in a daze, and asked in confusion. Don't you think this figure looks familiar?" Jun deliberately said in a serious tone. "Look familiar?" Hearing these words, doubts flashed across the faces of Zhang Chang'an and Mei Xian, and then they looked at the figure carefully again, but they still couldn't match the creatures in their minds. "No, I don't feel anything familiar." "Yes, me too. What if this figure is dressed in white?" Then, the two of them followed Jun Wudeo's method. In an instant, the two of them were stunned. The two figures in their minds became more and more consistent. "Yes, sir," Zhang Chang'an said in horror. "Yes, very similar. It's not like we admitted our mistake. One person would, two people would be a coincidence, but what about three people? I'm sure this is definitely an adult. In other words, the final winner of the war in the mural is the Lord. Is it the Battle of Emperor Fall? It's impossible. The Emperor's Fall War is considered a modern war. The atmosphere of this mural is definitely more ancient." Jun shook his head intentionally and said. "I'm more curious now, who carved this mural?" Long Yao on the side was stunned for a while. "What are you talking about? Who are you adults?" "It's okay, don't worry. Forget it, I'll continue to delve deeper. No matter what, we ants are not able to get to the bottom of the war involving adults. If we are not careful, we may cause some consequences." Just when everyone was about to go deeper, the mural above their heads suddenly burst out with a burst of light, and then the four figures disappeared directly from the spot. After a long time, everyone only felt as if they had traveled through the long river of time. Without the concept of time, they were quietly transported to an unknown space where no time passed. "Ha ha ha, look, there's someone here again. I guess they also saw the mural." "Not necessarily, maybe it's another creature from the ancient road." "Yes, this space is very strange, as if it can connect 12 ancient roads in the starry sky. I just don't know what will be waiting for us next, and whether the imperial magic we need is here too. At this moment, this space is filled with countless geniuses. How come there are so many geniuses here? This is where." After the four looked at each other, they spoke a little nervously, and then they began to explore aimlessly, and suddenly found that this space seemed to have no boundaries. "Have you noticed that it seems that, there is a genius from another path? That person, I know, I am sure he chose the sixth ancient starry sky road in that small world, but why did he appear here with us?" Mizian frowned and said. "Could it be that this space is interconnected by 12 ancient roads? Does that mean that Shui and the others may also be here? If this is true, it would be a disaster." Jun Yi pondered. What do you mean? Gathering all the geniuses together, what do you think will happen? It must be a battle for something. Not only that, our fairyland, you also know that there are several worlds that are eyeing us covetously or even hostile to us. Hey, don't say it, I met an acquaintance. At this moment, Zhang Chang'an looked at a man and a woman not far away and said slowly, while Jun Yuyi and Mei Xian looked in the direction of their sight and said in surprise. That's Su Xiaotian and Lian Yi. Who is the genius next to them? I don't know. At this moment, Su Xiaotian and Lian Yi also discovered Zhang Chang'an and others, and their eyes burst into intense surprise. Then they said to the genius next to them. Brother Wei, do you want to go with us to see our friends? Haha, of course. After that, the three of them flashed in front of everyone. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Ben Pao de la Chang. Chapter 519. Ha ha ha, Brother Chang'an, Fairy Mei, I didn't expect to meet you here. Su Xiaotian said excitedly. Yes, we are also surprised that you will appear here. Zhang Chang'an said with a smile. By the way, why don't you introduce these two? Su Xiaotian pointed at Long Yao'er and Jun Yuyu. He, this is Long Yao'er, a little girl from the ancient Emperor Dragon clan, we just met. He, hello, brothers and sisters. Long Yao'er said with a smile. Hello, little sister, you are indeed the proud daughter of the ancient Emperor Dragon clan. At such an age, you have already become a Chaos God King, Su Xiaotian said dotingly. After all, he is a doting sister. Magic. As for this person, don't you know him? Zhang Chang'an looked at Jun and said intentionally. I know. Brother, she looks a lot like Jun Wuidao from the Jun family, don't you think? The ripples of nothingness on the side reminded softly. Jun Wuidao, huh, my sister, when you say that, there are indeed some similarities. Holy crap, is it possible that that boy Jun Wuidao has such a beautiful sister? This guy is hiding deep enough. Su Xiaotian said in surprise. Hey, Xiaotian, you guessed wrong. This is Jun Wuidao, no, now it should be called Jun Yuyi. She is a woman. Zhang Chang'an said with a smile. Upon hearing these words, the Xiaotian brother and sister immediately widened their eyes and said in disbelief. What the hell? Jun Wuidao is a woman. I'm in such a big trough. Brother, don't say bad words. Ripple frowned and said, but this incident also had a big impact on her. I'm sorry for hiding it from everyone for so long. My real name is Jun Yuyi. Jun deliberately said slightly apologetically. No, what on earth is going on? Is such that. Later, Zhang Chang'an roughly explained the reason. So it's like this. It's just to cheat the curse. I can't help myself. He, I'm curious about Minjiao and the others' expressions when they see Jun Wu, no, it's Jun Yuyi. I'm surprised just thinking about it. He also said that if you don't plan to introduce the talent next to you, people are already waiting impatiently. Zhang Chang'an pointed at Dijun Wei and said. Brother Wei, please introduce yourself. Hello, my name is Dijun Wei, and I come from the eternal upper realm. Emperor Junwei is like a gentle gentleman, full of elegant and easygoing temperament, making people feel like a spring breeze. The upper realm of eternity. That's not the one that was killed by the adults. That's right, Brother Zhang, speaking of which, we actually stand together. After all, it was that Lord who saved our eternal upper world, destroyed the spirit race, and allowed our original way of heaven to return again. Immediately, everyone had a chat again and gradually became familiar with each other. Brother Cao Wei, You are actually a genius of the era. Awesome, awesome. Zhang Changchun was shocked when he learned that the other party was a genius of the era. Not worth mentioning. After all, I learned from our ancestors that you, the prodigy of the immortal realm, are extremely powerful. Xuanhuan said humbly. Excuse me. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't be where we are now. By the way, that master's apprentice is here, I wonder. Immediately, Xuanhuan asked slowly. You're talking about Sister Sui, right? We don't know either, after all we have just entered this space. That's really a pity. At this moment, Long Yao suddenly shouted loudly to a figure in the distance while shaking his hands. Brother Xuanhuan. Here, here. And Long Yao's shout also attracted countless glances. Emperor Su. Why is this name so familiar to me? I remembered, this is not the young master of the ancient race, the Su tribe, who was sealed by the source of chaos. So it's this person. Damn, it's really eye-opening to see such a talented person. It's such a pity. Emperor Su, these ancient geniuses, all of them are obviously capable of becoming emperors, but they are in the darkest era. That's right. If it weren't for the clear records in historical records and the recognition of countless great emperors, I would never have imagined that at that time, in all the heavens and all the worlds, there was only one emperor. The entire universe can only become one great emperor. Do you know how terrifying this is? However, since the end of that era, hasn't it been different? The heavens of each world will equally allocate some emperors' quotas in each era. But in this way, there is a big gap between the beings who can only become emperors on the imperial path of this world and the previous creatures who became emperors on the path of all realms. This is why, since then, there has never been another emperor who is on the list of ancient emperors. But it is precisely because of this darkness and cruelty that a peerless empress emerged who dominated an era. The Queen of Nanyi, right? Yes, it's the Queen of Nanyi in the fairyland. With her mortal body, she won the only throne among so many geniuses. I don't understand why she couldn't make it to the Eternal Emperor ranking. This is definitely the most regrettable thing. Who knows? Happy New Year to all readers. I wish you a prosperous New Year. Start, Invincible, met the Empress's apprentice. Author, Benpao de la Chang. Chapter 520. On the other side, after Xuanhuan heard Long Yao's shout, a trace of doubt first flashed in his eyes. After looking along the sound, he suddenly found a petite figure, waving his white and delicate hands at him. Xuanhuan also recognized Long Yao immediately. Then, a trace of helplessness and doting flashed across his face, and he immediately came to Long Yao. Yao, why are you here? Didn't you choose the 12th ancient starry sky road? Xuanhuan touched Long Yao's little head and said calmly. Humph, brother Xuanhuan, why can't I be here? Besides, don't touch my head, otherwise I won't grow taller. It's just because you kept touching me before that I'm so short. Long Yao showed a pair of small tiger teeth and said cutely. Stop being so naughty and tell me quickly, why are you here? Brother Xuanhuan, I was originally on the 12th ancient starry sky road. Haven't you noticed that there are many geniuses here who came from these 12 starry sky ancient roads? Long Yao shook her little head and said. Oh, I didn't notice this. Xuanhuan quickly glanced at the Tianjiao around and said slowly. Those who looked at him all lowered their heads unconsciously and did not dare to face Xuanhuan. The ancient Su clan young master, what these words contain is too terrifying. Okay, I know that in your eyes, brother Xuanhuan, you only see those opponents that you think are your opponents. Long Yao said unhappily. As far as you know, why don't you introduce these? Xuanhuan said with a smile. Let me introduce to you, this is Emperor Su. Like me, he is a newly awakened ancient genius. Damn it, it turns out you are that Emperor Su. When Long Yao described you, I thought you were some kind of monster with 3 heads and 6 arms. Zhang Chang'an said in shock. Yao are you exaggerating? Xuanhuan immediately pinched Long Yao's cheek and said. Wu, no. No. After ravaging Long Yao, Xuanhuan looked at everyone and said without arrogance or impatience. Hello everyone. Afterwards, everyone also introduced themselves. When they learned that Zhang Chang'an and the others were from the immortal realm, Emperor Su's eyes were filled with light. He kept scanning Zhang Chang'an and the others, and then asked eagerly. Are you from the fairyland? Well, that's right. Seeing Su Wang's appearance, Zhang Chang'an suddenly said in confusion. You seem to be looking forward to us being the geniuses of the immortal realm. Of course, after all, in my ancient journey, I have been looking for a female genius in your fairyland. Su Huang nodded and said. Looking for a female talent. After hearing this sentence, Shui Yi's appearance immediately appeared in the minds of those who intended to wait for it. Is it the two of them? Zhang Chang'an pointed and said to Mei Xian intentionally. Not really. Although these two girls are indeed very evil, they don't meet my expectations. I understand, it must be Sister Sui. Shui Yi. That's the disciple of that lord, Zhang Chang'an said tentatively. He didn't know if the other party could understand him. Su Huang was stunned for a moment and said slowly. Ha ha ha, as expected, I knew you guys knew each other, ha 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 ha, it's not in vain. Tisk, tisk, Sister Sui is really awesome. The genius who has never met her directly regards her as her opponent. Zhang Chang'an sighed in his heart. My grandpa told me that my biggest opponent is this girl in snow clothes, that master's apprentice, so I know you don't have to be surprised. It's just a pity that you are not, otherwise I really want to have a discussion. Su Huang said with some disappointment, this sentence was not about pride, but the character of an ancient genius. After all, none of these sealed geniuses were the all-powerful geniuses in the Dark Age at that time. They had seen too many evildoers. He is a genius and has defeated many pretentious geniuses. Therefore, this sentence is just a sentiment, and does not really mean to look down on Zhang Chang'an and others. Damn it, why do you look down on people? Although we are not as good as Sister Sui, we are not bad either. Well, it's obvious that your talents are very demonic. You can reach the level of Chaos God King at this age, and you are worthy of being called peerless. But in my opinion, you are still a little short of it. If your realm is the same as mine now, I will definitely treat you as my opponent. After finishing speaking, Su Huang directly burst out his own aura. After everyone felt this aura, they were stunned for a moment. Eternal God King. Brother Su Huang, you have broken through the Eternal God King, you are so powerful. Long Yao said with admiration. I met a little chance before. Sure enough, he is the genius of the ancient race, and even in that dark era, he was even on the list. Dijun Wei shook his head and sighed. Brother Wei, you are also the genius of the era. How long will it take for you to break through to the Eternal God King? Shuiwu Xiaotian on the side asked doubtfully. The Eternal God King, it is estimated that it will be at the end of the road to all realms. Now I have felt the bottleneck, but even if I break through, there is still a huge gap between me and Emperor Su. He is the Eternal God Wang Dingfeng, the next step is to become an emperor. Dijun Wei said slowly. Hey, you said they are all living beings, so why is there such a big gap? There is already Sister Sui in all the worlds, and now there is another Emperor Su. In my opinion, we should just let these geniuses compete for the crown of the great emperor. Su Wu Xiaotian sighed, the gap between people really cannot be bridged by hard work. Brother, you have the nerve to say it, aren't you also an ancient genius? If you weren't playful, you would have been the Eternal God King by now. Ripple of Nothingness said disdainfully from the side. How can we compare with ancient geniuses like Su Huang? They were born in that dark era, while we are in an era full of hope, Su Wu Xiaotian said slowly. So, why did you pull me into self-promotion? Wasn't it just because you were afraid? Immediately, Su Wu Xiaotian blocked Lipple's mouth and said, I beg you, little sister, stop talking. Shame on you. You. At this moment, Zhang Chang'an felt that there was such a big gap between him and such a talented person. Even the always gentle Di Junhui had to sigh at the gap between the two.